Check one, check one, check two. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Check 1 2, check 1 2, we're live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. The time is 9:11 a.m. in check 1, check 1, check 2. Good morning, good morning. God, I hate when that happens. Today is June 19th in the year 2023. Happy Juneteenth. Juneteenth. June 6th, June 19, commemorating the abolishment of slavery in the United States of America. No more slaves. I will not be a slave. I will not follow you. I will be me. I will be me, and you will be you. And there we will explore our differences. So what is truth? What is truth? Good morning, everybody. Mark Sconti reporting. How are you, man? Happy holiday to you. A national holiday has been declared. A national holiday, if you haven't heard. Juneteenth. Juneteenth, it's official. We have a holiday. All the stock markets are closed today. A lot of other things are closed. Federal places are closed. It's a time to relax and remember a time gone by in a positive way, part of our American history, Juneteenth. And for many people, it means a lot. For others, it means nothing. So what does it mean? What does Juneteenth mean? We'll look at that briefly. But more importantly, it seems that truth, this message, this notion of truth, is taking on a different form, if you will. If you look at this reporter, for example, 2 years ago, I had on my front page was truth. I changed it to love because truth was giving, you thought love had a bad name. Boy, did truth have a bad name. So there's this new kind of evolution of what truth is, and I think it's interesting. I think Vivek Ramaswamy definitely places his finger on it. And as a disclaimer, I'm not a lobbyist or someone who is lobbying for Vivek Ramaswamy for president over Trump. I'm not in that camp. I'm just looking at the people that are making valid points. And every once in a while, you got to admit that sometimes we get old, sometimes we get a little slow, sometimes we're all looking over here, and someone stands up and says, look over there, and what they're pointing at makes a lot of sense. And I think Ramaswamy's one of them. He's pointing not to he's not pointing so much to the political cancer, the national FBI such cancer. He's pointing to individual cancer, a loss of moral compass. Right? And that's not new in politics. I think the success, if you would attribute the success to any presidential candidate in the modern age, I think it would be Barack Obama who pointed to that corrosion of truth within, where there was no moral compass. I don't care about you. I'm going to step on you and step over you to get what I need from my people. Right? And Ramaswamy's kind of saying that same thing. It's not. Bernie Sanders certainly said, us, not me, or me, right? Us, not me, was his theme. But the point is that here's a 37-year-old guy. On the other side of it is, what's the fucking name? I forgot it. Tulsi Gabbard on the slightly on the left. is saying the same things as Vivek Ramaswamy, but Vivek is saying it in a more understandable way. So we're gonna explore it. I would love if Vivek, if you're watching the program, step down a couple of steps and come talk to me. Talk to real people here in America. We're here, we're listening, and it would be fascinating, discussion with Vivek Ramaswamy if he would decide to come on the show. So we'll look at that. Here's my thumbnail: truth. Vivek Ramaswamy, the Republican candidate for the presidency in the Republican side of the aisle, is wearing a truth hat. Truth, period, with a period on it. All right, that's it. That's all you need. Truth, period. And not only is he wearing a truth hat out in the public, but he's defending his political opponent for what appears to be unlawful, unreasonable, unmoral prosecution from the other side of the aisle. The other side of the aisles that we create, the Republican Democrat side, it seems to be coming from one side of that aisle in an ideological way. And this guy is pointing it out, right? He's not, you could say it's reverse psychology. I'm going to defend Trump and his indictments, and I will pardon him when I'm a president. It's a nice strategy, but I think there's more to it. I think he genuinely believes that it's right? What he's saying to prosecute Trump on the Espionage Act and try to lock up Trump before a presidential election is beyond the pale of banana republics. The Biden administration doesn't see it that way. The vast majority, not majority, but I would say now it's becoming a smaller minority, less than half, maybe, a whopping 35% of the country doesn't see it that way. They want to see Trump thrown in jail, an ex-president, because they're afraid of him. They're afraid that Trump is dangerous to them in some way. Some way, Trump is dangerous. I don't know. Look how crazy he is. He's got the nuclear codes in his basement. He's a racist, right? He says those Mexicans and those blacks, they're afraid of Trump in some way, and because their internal corrosion is causing them to say, lock him up, right? Throw him in jail. Now, we said lock her up with Hillary Clinton, but that seemed to have been valid. She broke a lot of laws in Congress right out in front of everybody's face during a presidential election. So anyway, we're going to look at Vivek Ramaswamy. Any voice that comes up through the ranks is gonna get some attention over here. So thank you everybody for joining me on Juneteenth, whatever the fuck it is, holiday. Snake is here, Jim Gerard is here, Weevil Girl on the wrench, Vinny D. Martini, motherfuckers here. Sean Kane, what's up? Mikkel Sly is here. Quantum Epic in the house. We're all here, man. We're all here spending our holidays together. Champs, what's up, man? What's up, guys? What's up, folks? So we'll do it. I have a website, marcusconti.com, and it's a way to find me if all hell breaks loose and the censorship comes back the way it was, which is not unbelievable. Come find me here at marcusconti.com, and the live show will just continue wherever we are. YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Facebook, Twitter, Getter, Truth Social, or wherever else you cover your social media. Come on down and take a look. And we're here every morning, 9 a.m. No notification necessary. So let's start here. Oh, look at this great video that went up. The MAGA hat dance. Yeah. So that was my advertisement for the day. So MAGA hat dance. I thought people would. I was sitting in my garage and I just was having some fun. I was going through a box of my hats. Notice I don't really wear hats anymore much because I'm enjoying my beautiful hair. I'm not hiding from my beautiful hair. But I pulled that hat out of the box, man, and it was just like singing to me, man. It was just the MAGA hat, right? Big movement, right? People really felt good about that. Direction. And sadly, it's been vilified to be something anti-government, anti-establishment, anti-American, right? Racist. It's crazy how shameful, something that is shameful. I had to walk around with a Make America Great Again hat. Has a connotation, humans have placed this incredible disgust on it. But for me, it's a hat, and I purchased it in New York City during the 2016 run with Bernie Sanders when Trump was coming out. $5. I bought that hat for $5 on the street in New York City. Great collector's item. Right? Does it make me a MAGA? No, it doesn't make me anything. It makes me remember how wonderful and inspiring it was to see Americans rise up during a political, season, and not only rise up, but win. They won. Remember, Trump won the 2016 election, and the people carried him there. So it was just a celebration. So let's start here. Happy Juneteenth. Vivek Ramaswamy, the very, very intelligent young man, who has all of his cylinders firing at once, is going to tell us what Juneteenth is, so we all know.
Happy Juneteenth, everybody.
You too.
This is a holiday that commemorates the day in 1866 when recently liberated slaves in Galveston, Texas, got together in the one-year anniversary of their emancipation and started a celebration that created a tradition that spread across the country.
See, I did not know that. Thank you, Vivek Ramaswamy, for telling me. So the day starts in Galveston, Texas.
We only commemorated it as a federal holiday, though, a couple of years ago. So what are we celebrating today, actually? Here's what I think it is, or at least it should be. It's the progress we have made as a nation since then. That's what we need to be celebrating today. Mm-hmm. While we were a nation that was founded on freedom, and yes, we did have slavery at our founding, the point is today, America is the quintessential nation on earth where you can get ahead no matter your skin color, no matter where your parents came from, no matter how long your last name is, you get ahead in this country based on your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication. That's the American dream. So I think the thing we ought...
That is right out of the Obama playbook. That is exactly what Barack Obama was saying in 2007. And he went on to become the nominee, overcoming the incredible resistance from the Clinton machine. Barack Obama took that message and pushed it and steamrolled the Democratic Party with that message and became the Democratic candidate for president, based on, rallying the 30% black, whatever, to understand that America is a great place where people, we are not 200 years ago. There is no slavery per se based on skin color and race. If you think it is, if you think that's still in place, you are guilty of thought crime. You're thinking that this person doesn't like me because of historical slavery and because of the color of my skin. That has nothing to do with the person you're accusing. It has to do with you. It has to do with the way you perceive yourself. Right? That's what it is. Right? So I think Vivek Ramaswamy's pointing that out, that basically it's an inside job. You fix yourself, you become comfortable with yourself, and then you see the truth. That yes, black people have, blacks in America, this is what we're talking about today. We're not talking about browns and yellows. We're talking about blacks. Juneteenth. Blacks, right, are not in the same position as they fucking were. Right? There has been an evolution of black culture in America to be equal, in some cases superior. This reporter is telling you and talking about and praising 2008 Barack Obama for having a message of going back to the family value, going back to the moral fabric of who we are as Americans. Barack Obama did that, right? Coming out of a kind of a dark age of, Bush and the Iraq invasion and such. So I think, I just, not to interrupt continuously, but I think that Vivek Ramaswamy has his finger on that pulse.
Ought to be celebrating today isn't just looking in some rearview mirror 160 years ago and flogging ourselves. Part of what we ought to celebrate is how far we have come as a country.
Yes.
That's what makes America great. But I think that if we're also being alert to making sure that we don't repeat those same mistakes again,
right,
we have to spot them in the present. It is easy to condemn slavery 160 years ago today.
Right.
What's harder is to spot and be careful about the risks of making those same mistakes again.
Bullseye. The reverse discrimination, they call it. It is discrimination. You're discriminating. Me versus you. Look at your skin color. Look at my skin color. You have more privilege because your skin color is a certain way, and my skin color is different. And that stems from your inherent belief in a privilege of your own. And it's from slavery. And see, we're still fighting the good fight. And no, stop fighting. You stop fighting. The people that you are fighting have capitulated and agree. So stop it.
We now teach young children across the country in our public schools to see themselves on the basis of, once again, the color of their skin. Teaching children that they're either oppressors or oppressed.
Critical race theory on display. Is that true? Yes, it is. Look at the books. Look at what the modern age parents are okay with teaching their kids about critical race theory. How the country is founded on white supremacy, and those whites over there want to hold you back, and all of your problems that stem out of the ghetto are from historical oppression and such. And that is true. That is absolutely true. That's what's being taught right now. Right.
Based on their race. Creating quota systems in the workforce and college admissions based on, again, the color of your skin. Mm-hmm. This is the modern form of psychological slavery. I think that is a dangerous form of slavery that we have to wake up to today, one that teaches young Americans that you are limited by what you can achieve in this country based on the color of your skin. Mm-hmm. That rejects the progress we have made. I think it rejects creating a new form of psychological slavery.
Psychological slavery, right? I call it thought crime. It's not necessarily psychological slavery. It is to yourself. If you believe in slavery and you believe that you are a slave, then you are psychologically enslaved. But accusing other people of being the oppressor, that is a mistake, and it's also a thought crime. It's something. It's George Orwell. He said, look at in 1984. He talks about it, the thought police. Right? He showed us that government is oppressing the way people think, right? With guns and jail and right. So
that we will regret 160 years from now. I think that's the lesson we need to remember today. I know that's a little bit uncomfortable to say, just as it was uncomfortable 160 years ago
It's not uncomfortable to say. It's truthful to say. Whatever the kickback is from saying it, that's different. But it's not uncomfortable. You just say it. Right? You said it. I'm echoing it.
Speak out against the social traditions that prevailed in their era. But that's what true courage means. Not just saying what everybody else believes to be obvious and criticizing people 160 years ago. But
wait, hold on a second. Breaking news. It looks like Vivek Ramaswamy has barking dogs in the background. Hold on a second. How many dogs does Vivek Ramaswamy have?
I know that's a little bit uncomfortable to say, just as it was uncomfortable 160 years ago for people to speak out against the social traditions that prevailed in their era. But that's what true courage means, not just saying...
He has his dog's barking in his background.
...what everybody else believes to be obvious and criticizing people 160 years ago, but to celebrate the progress we've made, and most importantly, to call out the hypocrisies that exist in the present.
Yes.
We're not a country that should discriminate in any direction, no matter your skin color. That's part of what it means to be an American. And that, too, is part of what I think we need to celebrate today on Juneteenth.
I agree, man. The celebration of the liberation of people who experienced oppression in this country. They were black, they were gay, they were Mexican, they were Italian, they were Irish, they were Polish, they were German, they were Japanese. Imagine shouldn't the Japanese get a day? The fucking Japanese got thrown into a concentration camps all over America during World War II. You talk about oppression. You talk about these are American people, and suddenly, because of their national origin, they're Americans. They're not fucking here because they love Japan. They're here because they love America, and they're looking for opportunity. They're not traitors. They're fucking people, man. They're people that have blown around. Right? It's like pollen. It's like a plant grows, and it's a good plant, and some of those seeds blow really far away to get away from the other plants, and that's what it is, right? Sort of.
Emancipating ourselves from the new psychological slavery that the new orthodoxy imposes on Americans of every skin color. I say let's declare independence from that. Let's emancipate ourselves from that. That's part of what we ought to celebrate today as well.
That's a great message. Thank you, Vivek Ramaswamy. On the comical note, Mark Dice addressing a little different controversy in our world regarding sex. Regarding what it is, what sex means, and why are they passing out lubes and dildos in elementary school?
It's LGBTQ Pride Month, as I'm sure you're aware. The queers have conquered the country. The flags are flying everywhere, from the sports stadiums to Target, the department stores to the school. But did you know that it used to be called Gay Pride? But that wasn't inclusive enough, so now it's LGBTQ Pride Month. But technically, the official name is actually the LGBTQAI plus community. The LGBTQ, everybody knows.
This guy has a huge set of balls, Mark Dice.
Lesbians, gays, transgenders, bisexuals. The Q stands for queers, which used to be a slur, but then they've sort of incorporated that as their own. Sort of like,
look at these jerk offs. Look at their faces when you present them with the actual word salad that is law. They look at you like you're crazy. Like, of course, fucking. Are we allowed to even listen to this? Or, right? They're uncomfortable because their constituency will grade them on their responses to Mark Dice. So they're very conscious. Look how self-conscious they are.
Black people did with the N-word, so that's their word now. The I stands for intersex. Those are people who have been born with both sex organs, male and female. They're very rare, but they do exist. They're like the unicorns of the community. But do you know what the A stands for? No, not anal, but I would understand why you would assume that. It actually stands for asexual. And these are people who are not interested in sex at all. Not with the opposite sex, not with the same sex, no sex. Which begs the question, why would they be lumped in with a community who won't stop talking about sex and all their kinks and all of their fetishes and the 57 different genders that they have invented? It doesn't make any sense.
No, absolute fucking genius so far. Genius.
And so, us straight people are, wondering, okay, maybe this has gone too far. They're bringing dildos out and lube in the schools. But I really feel sorry for the asexual people because I'm sure that they would rather play video games or do anything other than participate in an LGBT.
You got to ask yourself, when Mark Dice is doing this, it's only funny because it's what? It's what he's saying in front of this school board is funny because it's true. That's why it's funny. It's like, wow, it's so obvious that it's funny. That's what it's tragedy plus time. Tragedy and time is what? It's humor. That's where humor comes from.
TQ Pride Festival. It just doesn't make any sense. But the lesbians are the ones who really confuse me. A lot of lesbians celebrating, they're wearing the rainbows, tweeting about the patriarchy. But if lesbians are attracted to other women, then why are so many of them dating women who look like men?
All right. If lesbians like women, why are they attracted to women who look like men? That's fucking genius, right? There's got to be something in there that you admire about men. You just don't like the dick, I guess. You don't like the luggage or something.
I'm not laying copyright on that joke. I'm sure that a lot of comedians have talked about this. We've all kind of wondered this. It's not really a joke. It's more of a mystery. Right? This is a tough crowd here, but I understand. With cancel culture, you could get fired for laughing at certain cutting edge jokes.
Yes, you can, man. You can get banned for years.
Obvious facts. But I'm just here to say that it's okay to not be gay. Now they call it homophobia, but we used to call it
being normal.
So subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Fucking great guy, man. I love that guy. Oh, here's a guy. Here's another guy, a very brilliant artist. Artist responds after critics rebuff him for portraying Trump as too young and too good looking. Now, this is fascinating, right? Here's a guy who he draws people. He sits in court and he looks at the guilty person or whatever he sees, because there's no cameras allowed in the courtroom. And he gives a human impression of what he's seeing, and he draws it. That's what artists do, by definition. I see it, and I draw it. And they're saying that, no, you have an opinion, you have a bias in what you see, and that's coming through in your art. Right? Which makes an argument that there should be photographs and video in the courtroom. You should have people able to see exactly what's happening and stop this fucking hiding behind, stupid people that, or artists. But anyway, they depicted, look at the picture. There it is. That's the picture that was released. There's the judge, what he looks like. Looks like he even, I don't know if these are clerks right here. The jury's on the other side, on that side. The jury would be to your left of the American flag, right? But look at Trump. Is Trump too young and good looking? Trump's 77 years old. He's overweight, but he doesn't look like it here. So it's bias. And here's the artist wearing two sets of glasses because he's got four eyes. How many eyes do you got? He's got one eye. He's got one pair. Why don't you get like a set of glasses that works for both? Why are you wearing two sets of glasses? There's bifocals, you jackass. And the guy can't even see, man. The guy's got two pairs of glasses on. And you want to blame him for painting Trump too young? Here's another one he did. I don't know. We don't have anything to compare them to. But imagine that. Imagine that thought crime right there. The artist who sketched former President Donald Trump arraignment last week in Florida responds to criticism that he portrayed Trump as younger and more physically fit than reality. It's rare I get any kind of feedback, says the artist, 65 years old. His name is William Hennessy. Hennessy was one of the three artists who captured Trump's appearance at his arraignment in federal court Trump was indicted on 37 cases. So guilty. He's guilty of he should have made Trump look old and stupid and fat because that's politically good for our case, right? If you go in there showing the young, dapper Trump, it would be interesting to see if that's valid. Who did William J. Hennessy, the artist in Miami, who did ye vote for? Is he a Trump guy? Does he go home swinging a Trump flag? Well, they're trying to pin him. They're trying to pin him, right? You even biased there. You can't even do a good job. You can't draw what you see and have your own impression of what you see. You have to echo what we see, right? That's not right, man. You're giving Trump, he's not young and fit. He's fat and old, and that's what you're supposed to paint him as. So it's fascinating. Right? Fascinating little story. Let's listen to Vivek Ramaswamy defending that man who he's running against. When historically does a political candidate for the presidency help his opponent and say, I'll pardon him? And what they're doing to him is deeply unfair and unjust. Well, here he is saying it with the quintessential truth hat on. Let's listen.
That says that the president has an authority to decide what is and is not covered. It stays silent on the statements that Trump made in 2016 after the election, despite the fact that it quotes him before that election. It stays silent on the fact that executive orders do not bind a U.S. president as law. That tells me this is politicized. And by the way, I want to be very clear about something. As U.S. president, I would have made different judgments than Donald Trump made. Thank you. How do you do it?
Look at Laura fucking Loomer. That's Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer, look how Laura Loomer is pushing herself into the fucking frame. Now that's Jewish New York right there. Laura Loomer, good job, Laura. I didn't notice it before. That's who that is. That's Laura Loomer, the big activist who sued Google and everybody else and Facebook, who got run out of New York and then went to Israel, right? Super Jew, Laura Loomer handing Vivek Ramaswamy the bullhorn.
Like that? Press the button right here.
Press the button right here.
Can you hear me?
Here, Vivek, I'll suck your dick later.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Get out of there. Get out of the frame, fucking Laura.
Good. So I'll be fine without this. Yeah. I'll be fine without it.
Breaking news: Vivek Ramaswamy is got is swinging it with Laura Loomer in Florida.
Thank you. So the bottom line is there are two things that matter. One is, how are we going to hold the Biden Department of Justice accountable? The first answer is that yesterday I submitted a Freedom of Information Act request, a demand to the Biden Department of Justice, demanding, what did Biden tell Jack Smith? What did Biden tell Merrick Garland? What did Merrick Garland tell Special Prosecutor Jack Smith?
So here's Vivek Ramaswamy pushing for our Freedom of Information Act. Give us the information we want. What is the connection between Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, and Biden and the special counsel? What did that message? Because Joe Biden is saying, I got nothing to do with it. I got nothing to do with it. They're doing it on their own. Merrick Garland's acting on his own. He doesn't even know because he's appointing a special counsel. Right, and we're going to find out what's going on. Now, if Joe Biden gave that order, that is election interference. That wasn't a decision that the DOJ and the alphabets came and the executive, the DOJ came up with on their own. That was pressure from above, pressure, right? And that's what Vivek Ramaswamy is trying to connect. Did Joe Biden give the order to go after Trump and enforce frivolous espionage laws before a presidential election, which qualifies as a banana republic, which makes us buck fucking wild and really, in a sense, ungovernable, unself-governable. It's very, very ugly. So we need to see what's in it. It's a good move. But when have you ever seen a political opponent go to bat for his opponent? That's different. That's a different spin, right? Which makes the guy real.
They are required within 20 business days to give us an answer about any direct or indirect communications. And the first announcement I want to make today is that if they do not comply with the law in the next 20 business days, then we will sue them in federal courts at our campaign's expense to get to the bottom of those answers. The news media should be doing this. It is a shame that a competitor...
No. Here's where I disagree. Vivek, the news media does what they do. People will listen to them if they're truthful. If they're not truthful, they go away. They're not required. There's no... That's a fundamental problem right there. The news media is not required to do anything, right? They just do it. They say... Look at CNN. They say whatever they want. MSNBC says whatever they want, and they rally the troops. What we need is true voices, people that are not connected in any way to corporate power, taking their money. Right? So I would disagree that we have to hold media accountable. How? By censoring them? By vilifying them? No. Just let them talk. Let CNN talk themselves out. And just don't, nobody listens. Nobody's listening to them because they're lying, right? So holding your ground is really the way to do it.
Competitor to Donald Trump in this election has to do the job of the political news media. Your job, if you have one, is to hold the U.S. government accountable for their lies.
In an old-fashioned way, that's very true. You have to hold the government accountable for their lies. Yes. So people that are not doing that qualify as unpolitical news. They're not political news. They're propaganda, by definition.
You do not take what they say at face value for the last 8 years when it was President Trump. Do not take their lies at face value now.
Okay.
But it is a shame that it takes a leader outside of the media to stand up. That is what we're doing. They now have this Freedom of Information Act request. And if they don't comply within 20 days and they don't follow the law, we will see to it in federal court that they do.
This guy's got a good energy, man. It's good. The energy is in the right place, it seems.
That brings me to my second announcement that I'm going to make today. This is an announcement of a letter that my campaign has sent to every other campaign in this race, to Mike Pence, to Nikki Haley.
Reaching out to all of his political opponents and asking them to join him. Amazing.
To Larry Elder, to RFK Jr., to Marianne Williamson, to Doug Burgum, to Perry Johnson, to Chris Christie, to Ron DeSantis, the governor of the state where we are today, who by any measure is not here today in his own state.
What a great strategy. Support your political opponents. And is it a strategy? Support your political opponents when they're right and step on them when they're wrong. Whatever the spin, whatever the current spin is, right? I think it's rather brilliant.
I will tell you that we have sent this letter, and I'm happy to announce, this is my commitment on January 20th, 2025, if I'm elected the next U.S. president, to pardon Donald J. Trump for these offenses in this federal case.
There you go.
And I have challenged, I have demanded.
Is he a Trump supporter, or is he a undercover Trump supporter? He thinks he's going to get a position in the cabinet. Or is he just speaking the truth because that's the way to go? I think it's the latter. I think he's a truthful guy.
That every other candidate in this race either sign this commitment to pardon on January 20th, 2025, or else to explain why they are not.
Right.
And I will tell you something. it's going to be difficult for those other candidates to sign this letter. The reason it's going to be difficult for them is the same reason it's difficult for me. The donor
Why?
class
The donor
has been
class.
calling every Republican candidate and telling us to stay away from this, not to touch it from a 10-foot pole,
All right.
not to just keep your distance away for Trump. That is what the donor class is telling us.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant revelation right there. He's saying that he, as a candidate, the donor class is pushing him away from the prosecution of Trump. Is saying, no, we're not going to touch that. And what does that mean? It means if you touch it, we're not going to support you. You're not getting any money. You have no chance of advancing you have no way of advancing financially, corporate financially. Now, if Vivek Ramaswamy thinks he can win the presidency without corporate support, it ain't gonna happen. Trump had it. Don't kid yourself. Trump got lots of corporate support later on in the campaign. But if you're gonna say that, if you're gonna make the campaign about truth and honesty and holding, the Biden administration responsible for this, then we're not going to support you. And that's an interesting revelation. That's what he's saying. Listen to him say it again.
Difficult for them is the same reason it's difficult for me. The donor class has been calling every Republican candidate and telling us to stay away from this, not to touch it from a 10-foot pole, not to just keep your distance away for Trump. That is what the donor class is telling us. That's what they're telling the other candidates. Mm-hmm. I refuse to abide by being a disciple of the donor class. I think that we need to declare independence from our donor class in the Republican Party. That is why I challenge every one of the other candidates to actually act on their convictions. If you're not going to pardon President Trump on January 2025, you deserve to say why, and we will hold you accountable, just as we're holding the Biden administration accountable. That's what we need more of in this country. Honesty, integrity, and actual purpose for our country in a way that puts America first, not our political interests first.
Brilliant. So I went to Vivek Ramaswamy 2024's site, and I clicked on the button that said truth. And he said, we hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable, says Thomas Jefferson. But here's his 10 truths. He says, number one, God is real. There are two genders. Human flourishing requires fossil fuels. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is no border. Parents determine the education of their child. The nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to mankind. He's bringing it back to family. He's bringing it back to moral compass, right? That God is there. That there is, we burn what we need to stay alive. If it's fossil fuel right now, eventually humans are seeing that that's not a sustainable way of going, and they're moving towards battery-operated cars. In 20 years, there won't be any fossil fuel burning. In fact, I went to, I was in a park yesterday, and they had a car show. If you're not familiar with car shows in America, this is where everybody comes into a public park, a beautiful park with all the beautiful grass and green, and they drive their old fucking vintage cars in a cloud of carbon monoxide and smoke out the park with their cars, and there's loud music and such. And I ran the other way because I'm in that park all the time, and suddenly I was in that park and there was a cloud of fucking car gas. The smell of car exhaust. And I ran the other way. So it is, if they were electric cars, it wouldn't be a problem. You'd still be stepping on the grass, but you wouldn't be killing everybody with the smell. So an open border is no border. Capitalism lifts people up from poverty. It can. It depends on how you define capitalism. Money lifts people up from poverty. Wealth. How do you get wealth? I don't know. There are 3 branches of government, not 4. The U.S. Constitution is the strongest guarantor of freedoms in history. Depends on how far back you go in history. You can go all the way back, and there were certainly more, constitutional fucking situations of constitutional republics that were stronger. We're not the strongest. I don't think. I don't think at all. I think it's just it's a lack of understanding of history. But nonetheless, things like reverse racism is racism, open border is no border, 2 genders. So good stuff coming out of Vivek Ramaswamy. Here he is grilling Bill Barr. Now, Vivek Ramaswamy is not only a candidate for president, but he's out there interviewing fucking enemies, right? Bill Barr is technically an enemy, right? And listen to what he gets Bill Barr, even Bill Barr, to agree to. Bill Barr is going to tell you that it's not necessarily a corrupt FBI. It's a corrupt everybody. The whole fucking system is corrupted. Listen to this.
It's always an intermediate objective. Let's arrest these 3 people. Let's build a case against this. And there's no overall sort of anaconda strategy of squeezing them quickly.
Speaking of the FBI, we want to shift gears to that in terms of talking about managing a problem. Actually, I don't want to assert my premise without asking you about it. I think the politicization of the FBI is a problem in our country. I think that the agency has demonstrated that it acts with often politicized motives that have both undermined public trust in the agency and have demonstrated that the agency is itself not fully worthy of.
I think that's pretty much proven at this point. The FBI has been caught in many, many lies. That is a statement of fact. It's not even an opinion at this point.
Full public trust without the skepticism that many now have towards the FBI. But before I go to solutions, I don't want to just bake it on a premise that maybe you might have a different point of view on. What's your candid view on that? Is that a well-grounded perspective or not?
I think it's a mistake to look at the FBI and even DOJ in isolation in terms of their becoming, a corrupted institution. Not corrupted in the sense of personal graft, but people who are sacrificing, the values and processes and so forth of the institution. I think what's happening at the department, what's happening at the FBI is across the board.
Wow.
In the federal government.
Not only the federal government, but all our institutions.
Wow. He's got Bill Barr saying that the whole fucking system is corrupt. Bill Barr is agreeing. Bill Barr, the guy who just came out and said the whole indictment against Trump is valid and is solid. And now he's saying that the whole system is corrupt. So which one is it, Bill?
Science.
The charges came directly from the politicized FBI. Who it appears that the sitting president, Joe Biden, kicked it all off, put it together.
Medicine,
sure,
everything,
business.
Education, business, and it's all the corruption of our institutions that's going on. And in some ways, what stands out about actually, if I were to sort of rank them as how thoroughly compromised the institutions are, I'm not sure the FBI or the Department of Justice would be that high on the list.
Right.
But as Shakespeare said, lilies that fester smell far worse than weeds. It's because of the sensitivity of the
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's the sensitivity of the function they're performing and how much we really rely on these institutions that catches our attention about these failings, these institutional failings.
So Bill Barr is basically saying, I was the head of the DOJ, and I know it's fucked up, and I know it's corrupt, and I know it's evil, and I know it's not truthful in a sense, that there's a certain corrosion flowing through it. He still goes along with it. He still goes along with it. That's the problem. It's you rise up to power head of the DOJ, and then you know the corruption is there, but you don't do anything about it. You try to referee it. You don't move to change anything. That's a fucking problem. That's why Bill Barr fails, because he doesn't change it. He knows it, and here he is being candid with Vivek Ramaswamy. He's being candid, and he's telling you that the whole fucking thing is corrupt. But he doesn't do. He never did anything about it. And Trump too. Trump didn't barely. I mean, Trump did some things, but he could have. I think, in my view, Trump could have went way further, especially with the election problems in this country. To make a voting system in this country that everybody trusts and believes in. It's not hard to do. The ATM machine card.
But I think they all go back to the same thing. The Comey episode in Russiagate gave people the impression that the FBI was rotting from the head, that it was the leadership that was corrupt. Or
it's not my impression.
Yeah.
My impression is it's found its way maybe less deeply than into universities. Fair enough.
Vivek, a word of advice: let the guy talk. Let him. He's talking. He's on a roll. You missed the roll. Stop defending your position. He's agreeing with you. You don't have to. You don't have to do that. Let him talk. Joe Rogan's the master of that. Just let him talk. Let him put himself on the record. He already did. He's already telling you that I oversaw even though I was the head of the animal, I wasn't the essence of the corruption. The corruption was beneath me and in me and around me and even above me. What do you want me to do? That's what people say. What do you want me to do? It's just the system. I'm just going to go along with it. Right?
But
don't let him talk. Let him talk.
Permeated, I think, the culture of the bureaucracy itself.
Right. And part of that, I think, was, Mueller coming in. And
Sean Kane reports Bitcoin is up today. Stocks must be. Stocks are closed today. Today is Juneteenth. All stock markets in America are closed today.
And sort of announcing he was going to change the culture of the FBI. And that was carried out by Comey as well.
What did they mean when they said that?
I'm not sure exactly what they meant. But it got I'm
going to clean out the culture. What does it mean? I don't know. They don't even know what it means. Comey, yeah, we're going to clean up the culture of corruption in the FBI. And then you ask Bill Barr, what does that mean? It's like, I don't know. I have no idea.
The idea
was... you know these people. You've worked with them.
Yeah.
What do you think they meant? Did they mean in the direction of depoliticizing it? Did they mean in the direction of making more results-oriented? Like, was that going to come change the culture?
It means that they're fucking turnkey. They're hired hacks. That's what it means, Vivek. Tell them. It means that they take the money, they get paid, and this is the job they do. They do it because this is what it is, right? I'm not a leader. I don't fucking lead anything, man. I don't lead anything. I just take orders. Yeah, I just take orders. I'm an order taker. Well, then who did you take orders from? If he was the DOJ, the lead of the DOJ, and he's saying that he's following what's around him and not necessarily leading anything, then Vivek Ramaswamy makes the point that, well, what did Merrick Garland, the current sitting DOJ head, and his special counsel and his president tell him to do? That's the essence of it, right? Because if that is the case, if Biden is leaning on Trump to, via the DOJ to bring, 37 felony accounts against the guy for boxes in his basement. And you're just sitting on your hands, Bill. That's what you're doing.
Culture of the FBI, presumably, what did they mean?
I think what they had in mind was that the FBI was was a law enforcement entity with a law enforcement culture. Mm-hmm. And it recruited mainly from the military and from law enforcement, police officers who had good careers. And so
I commend Bill Barr, by the way, for doing this interview. This is brave. This is very brave. This is a turning point for Bill Barr. He's being brave. He's speaking truth on this issue. So you gotta salute him for that. You could hate him, and he said some and oversaw some very, very bad stuff. But right here, he's being honest.
So the people understood chain of command, and they approach things from a law enforcement
chain of command. Do it or you're fired.
standpoint, which is, following the process
Yes.
is very important. And
You're following the chain of command. Who's the commander? When there's a chain of command, there must be a commander. If you're saying that you're at the head of the DOJ and you're not the commander, then who is? Bill, who is the commander? In this case, it is the president.
being even-handed is very important. So you're not results-oriented, okay? And what they had in mind after 9/11 was that, we're no longer cops and robbers type agency. We're no longer go and react to crime. We have to prevent it from happening in the first place. And so I think it was sort of a foggy concept that they sort of wanted, we just want something, we want more, different kinds of people involved and so forth. So
This is super interesting, though. I think
Yeah.
you're right over the flame here.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
it does start with, call it a good
Yeah.
intention, call it what you want. This idea of that's actually very important, right? So
Yeah.
you think it's in the post 9/11 era.
Right.
That's when Mueller came over the first time.
Yeah.
well, he was there.
So anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. Bill Barr coming slightly clean. Look at these two lovebirds. The lovebirds. Here they are, the lovebirds. Some lovebirds at Secular Talk now. The Crystal Ball and the Kyle Kalinske with 1 million subscribers. It's not a personal attack of any, or it's not even a personal vendetta. I like both of these people prior to now. And I respected both of them, but they're now moving in a direction that is ridiculous. They're becoming Lawrence O'Donnell and Rachel Maddow. You see how the money corrupts you? All right? Listen to the debate of not is the debate is Trump going to prison? Not are the charges being brought against Trump ridiculous? But can the other party throw him in fucking jail? Right? That's what they're excited about. Listen.
So I'm still 50-50 as to whether or not he's actually going to prison. I'm agnostic, but I'm going to play devil's advocate to your position, where you think he's going to end up there. We're just rehashing stuff we've talked about before, but it only takes one juror holdout in South Florida. South Florida is very politically diverse. They lean right. DeSantis won the area. There's a lot of Cubans there. You get one Cuban on that jury, and it's all of a sudden everything's up in the air, right?
Oh, wait a second. That was racist, Kyle. You're bashing Cubans in Florida. Those Cubans, they're all about Trump. Cubans love Trump. They love him. They see he's opening up Florida for them. Think about it. Florida. Trump is a Florida guy now. He lives down in Florida, Mar-a-Lago, and all the people around him, the Latino community, namely the Cuban people from Cuba, love Trump. Right? They do. They love Trump. So Kyle is saying if one of those Trump-loving Cubans is in the jury, then it'll be a hung jury. So what are you saying, Kyle? Filter out those fucking dirty Cubans because 99% of them voted for Trump. All right. See how that kicks off? You fucking pointed out the Cuban support in Florida as something bad. That's fucked up.
All you need is one juror to object. There's no statutory minimum for any of the crimes. So the government could say, look, it's a former president. We don't want to tear the country apart. So we're not.
It's like he's talking about baseball. Like he lost his morality. Hey, we're talking about, it's just Trump. You can throw Trump in jail. It doesn't fucking matter. He's running for president. Who cares? He's a fucking animal, man. He's a fucking orange monster. He's a racist. He hates me because I have blonde hair and I'm on the left.
Not even going to try to get prison time, which, by the way, is not really unprecedented when you think about how Obama treated George W. Bush, Dick Cheney, and all the gaggle of criminals that were in that administration. Yeah. He said, we look forwards, we don't look backwards. Even though these guys did torture, even though they did an illegal war, an offensive invasion, even though there was a laundry list of crimes, they were like, what are you going to do, right? So that's another aspect to it. Also, the judge really
there isn't a laundry list of crimes. The crimes are in your head, Kyle.
Is pro-Trump, appointed by Trump in 2020, has a history of pro-Trump decisions. I think the last time she did a pro-Trump decision, it got appealed to the 11th Court, which is very conservative, but they overturned what she did because they thought it was that absurd.
See, now it's a problem because the judge is pro-Trump. Therefore, it's corrupt. Now there's corruption because she's pro-Trump, not pro-truth, not pro-law. She is pro-Trump. That's what Kyle said.
Yeah.
But
pointing out the politicism of the court system, the federal court system.
again, that's sort of an indication that she's willing to make absurd decisions on behalf of Trump. I don't know if I said this, but there is, I did say, there's no statutory
Wow. You talk about bias on display, boy. Bias on display.
minimums on the case. So they don't have to.
Look, they named it Crystal Kyle. Oh my God. We're going down the fucking toilet here.
To get you have to get 5 years or whatever. And just the fact of the matter is we're dealing with a former president. We're in uncharted waters.
Right.
And so, I don't know, man. When I look at all that stuff, again, I'm split 50-50, but I think the argument that he won't go to prison, because every other time everybody thinks they got him, his ass wiggles out of it. It's that old famous case. How's old Donnie going to wriggle his way out of this one? He wriggles his way out of this one. Well, nevertheless.
I think
Why don't you look at why he has to constantly wiggle? Right? The prosecution. That's the key fucking element of this.
most compelling case you can make for Donald Trump avoiding prison time. It's just this is the luckiest motherfucker on the planet.
Oh, lucky, bro.
Everything, every ball, even with the it was such a
He's lucky. Trump is lucky.
political assist to him that Biden is found with classified documents and Pence is found with classified documents. It doesn't matter for the legal case, but for the political case he's trying to make, that was that was a huge assist for him.
Wow, I can't watch you anymore. I'm so sorry, Kyle and Crystal. Good luck in your careers, and thank you for the refreshing view of what we're not supposed to be doing.
I served for 8 years. That oath swearing to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So when we look at the threats that we are facing today, those threats to our freedom, those threats to our Constitution, they're
Tulsi Gabbard.
not coming from some far-off land or some foreign country. Those threats are coming from within. And they're coming, unfortunately, from people who do not share our love for this country, who don't share our appreciation for our God-given rights and freedoms that are enshrined.
They do care. Tulsi Gabbard, they all care. They just have a twisted version of what it means. Everybody in America cares for the country. Even the radicals running around running the fucking crazies at the George Floyd riots, burning shit. They in the back of their minds, they do believe in the country. They just don't believe in the way it is right now. Right? They want to see the country their way, right? A representation of them. So I think all people. That's why I lean more on Vivek Ramaswamy to say that there's a moral compass that has been broken. It's not those people over there. It's all people. Because when those people over there have a strong opinion, these people over here stand up against them, and then there's a fight. And that's not the right way to do it. That's not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is to hold your ground. I think Vivek Ramaswamy probably understands that. Maybe because he's a Hindu, and the fucking whole Gandhi thing where you just let you don't kill your enemy. You just let them choke themselves out. So I would disagree with Tulsi right there a little bit.
In the Constitution, and so they are willing to sacrifice all of it in their ambitious and selfish hunger for power. And it's because of this that we are here today facing an unprecedented moment where a sitting president of the United States has taken action abusing his power to direct the federal government and justice system to be used against his major political opponent in the midst of a presidential campaign, charging him with multiple crimes with an election right around the corner.
That is fascinating. So Tulsi Gabbard calling it out. Thank you, Tulsi Gabbard. So we're above the hour. Thank you all for joining me. Justified Zone, I disagree, Marcus. Some people just want to watch the world burn. Yeah, they do. They want to watch it burn, but then they want to, at some point, I think I would agree with you. There's some people that have a are programmed to destruction, where they'll die. They're living their lives in a way that they just cannot tolerate the world as it is, and they'll oppose it until they're dead. I might agree with you there. Some people want to watch the world burn. Yeah, some people like that. I mean, anarchism is about that. It's like, well, I mean, there's an interesting saying that I heard it during Bernie Sanders, that if you don't let the young people into the town and let them be part of the town, right? If you don't let young people in, right, the progressives in 2016, the Bernie Sanders tried and true, the voice of the vast majority of the Democratic Party, young people, 30% young people, if you don't let their voice in, they will burn down the town just to feel the warmth. Right? That's what people do, you know. And because why? Not because they like to feel the burn. Right? They're burning it down because they don't like the way it's going, right? And such. So I had a big point there. And I totally forgot it. But thank you all for joining me. Enjoy your Juneteenth day, and beautiful weather out here in northeast Pennsylvania. The sun is out. The sun is shining, moving up to 80 degrees. Take care of your plants. Make sure they have enough water. Take care of yourself. Make sure you have enough water and sun and food, and relax and enjoy. Don't forget to breathe. I forget to breathe sometimes. I'm breathing right now. Peace, everybody. Marcus Conte reporting.